So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 in-depth ability tips to master Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is currently the best tank in all of Marvel Rivals, and I'm going to be explaining to you why in this video and how you can get better at him. So first, his left click is pretty straightforward, just his primary fire. It has a bit of a spiral to it, but I'm going to be teaching you the fundamental combinations you want to add to this left click. And what I'm talking about is whenever you see a high rank player on Doctor Strange left click, you're also going to see them left click like right after quite a bit. So you're going kind of like this. This is really good for whenever you're just as your default mode, kind of medium range fighting. It's also really good if you need to peel backwards, but you're not too low HP, you need to just hold your shield permanently. So you can do a bit of damage like this while you're also backpedaling for your team. So you're charging your ult, you're doing damage, but you're also blocking a lot of damage. And you can also learn to time this correctly. So if the Doctor Strange is shooting, you can learn to time it to block his. And you can also block things like Winter Soldier hook. Another fundamental combo you can have on Doctor Strange with his left click is going to be the left click melee. So left click melee up close is really good because it allows you to finish off low enemies like this, and it also melee goes through any shield. So if someone's low, because you know often someone who's playing Strange and is low, they're going to hold their shield. If you have a Magneto, they're going to hold their shield. And you can melee through that whenever they're low. And you can also break their shield like this. So you want to combine the left click with the melee. This tip is really important. It combines multiple of Doctor Strange's abilities, and it has to do with Doctor Strange's survivability. The reason Doctor Strange is so strong, and in my opinion the strongest thing in the game, is because of his survivability. He has this huge shield that covers him and a lot of people around him. It has 800 HP currently, and so you can either, you can block for your teammates. Say your teammate gets girdled right here, you can just block them like this. You can block for yourself and backpedal and shoot like this, like I already showed you. But you can also block offensive ults from the enemy team. Like say this is a Hela and I want to block Hela ult, I can go like this. And I can, you just want to sit in front of them. So if you're playing Strange and you don't currently look to block Hela ult, you really want to be doing that. There's pretty much no chance they're going to be getting a kill if you just kind of hit shift, save your shift for them, get them in front of them, and block them like that. It's also good to use this for yourself if you're getting out of a sticky situation. But also what you can do is, like, if I'm pushing and I'm like, oh crap, now I'm not getting healed and I'm at like half HP, you can just hit shift and go like this. This allows you to live for so long, and then it allows your healers to heal you, because anyone in front of you is not going to be able to damage you, while everyone behind you can heal you because you're just floating there still with a shield up like this. They can break your shield, but it's unlikely, especially in lower ranks. Even in high ranks, for them to break that shield quick enough for you to not get any heals whatsoever. Other than that, just make sure you're managing your shield's HP adequately. So don't just hold it all the time. If you are aware of Reinhardt from Overwatch, don't just sit there and hold shield the whole time. You want to be comboing it with like this, with your left click, like I mentioned in the beginning. And you also want to save a little bit. So if you're getting bursted down to like 200 or 300 HP on your shield, try to save that if you can. If you can't, that's okay, but you want to use that for if you're getting lower on HP or if a teammate's getting lower on HP, and that way you're able to, save them or save yourself and get out of, around this corner and get to safety so you get healed before you go back in and let it recharge. The next is going to be a tip regarding Doctor Strange's ult. Doctor Strange's ult is very, very powerful. Pretty much everything about Doctor Strange is very strong, but Doctor Strange's ult is one of the things that makes him particularly strong. Now, there are a few things you want to keep in mind whenever you're ulting. The radius is not as big as you might have initially thought, so if I were like right here in the middle, it actually does hit, it will hit all these people. It's fairly big, but in game you have to be a little bit more aware, because people can move, people have movement abilities, so it's not very easy for you to get a bunch of people. But something that I would almost always recommend doing is you can either portal on top of people to ult, which is a little more complicated, but something you pretty much always want to be doing is two things actually. One is you want to be charging up your E before you ult, so make sure that you have your E to do a lot of burst damage. And then the other thing is make sure you hit shift. So hit shift, get on top of them, and then as you're falling, activate your ult. And then you do a little bit of damage, get your E up, pop the E, and just kill people. So that's how you want to cleanly ult. That is contrary to if you just walk into them. You can ult, and then they're gonna see you, and they're gonna know you're playing aggressive, and then they're gonna know you're more likely to ult. So you want to keep that in mind. You also want to watch for barriers like Magneto barrier or Doctor Strange shield, because they will prevent your ult from going through them. So that's why going up in the air, like before, not directly in front of them, you want to do it a little bit early and then kind of drop on them and ult. Also, whenever you ult, make sure you're not just running in like half HP and trying to ult, because your ult takes a second to pop. It doesn't just instantly stun them. it needs like a second or two to charge up and stun them. So that's why activating it as you're falling, again, I'll show you one more time, kind of like this, is really strong. So you're falling, activate the ult right on top of them, and they're all stunned. And then also if you have your E charged up, it's even better. It's not always realistic to have it 100% charged, but if you can at least have it like half charged to 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever, it's going to allow you to hit them a little bit, get the charge up a little bit more, and then just burst down whoever's stunned, whoever's nearby, and do a lot of damage. This tip is going to be about Doctor Strange's E. So whenever you start damaging people, it will charge up a number in the middle of the screen. The thing about this is whenever you get it up higher, it does more damage, but once you hit 100, it actually will start this animation, and if you wait too long, it will make you so you cannot be healed. You still can hit E to get rid of that, and it still does the same amount of damage, I believe. But it's important to keep in mind that you just want to be aware of that. If you let that happen and you're going up for like an aggressive kill, this is how you really want to do it. So you get your charge up, right? You're up to, let's say, like 70. And then you go find a squishy, right? I find a squishy, I run up toward them, and then I burst them down. What you do not want to do is charge up like this. Let's say we're up to like 100, we're just kind of playing from a distance, right? You don't want to do this and then have to go try to chase them down. And then as you're pushing, you get damaged, you get bursted down really heavy. And then your healers are unable to heal you because, you know, you're purple and you can't be healed. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is, like, usually you can play back a little bit, you can charge up this, but whenever you do, like, Doctor Strange has this kind of flow. So, like, whenever you're getting higher up on charge, you want to move up. You want to move up and you want to do damage. And that's kind of like, and then you come back once your charge is down again. And that's how this really goes. Also, remember to keep your charge up a little high whenever you want to ult. Hey guys, so last but not least is Doctor Strange's portal. His portal is extremely strong and has a very long cooldown, and it can be used in a variety of situations. First of which is on attack, whenever you're either on a King of the Hill map or on a payload push map where you just need to take a point. It can be really good for getting your team somewhere quicker before the enemies expect it, especially onto like a high ground area. So for example, if I want to go up here, this can be really good. Keep in mind, you can come back in it where it says reposition here, or I can reposition this to kind of, you know, we'll get into that in a second, but you can place it whichever way you're facing whenever you place it is the way your team is going to come out of. So if I place it like this, this is what my team is going to see when they first come through. So kind of like this. And this is how you're going to come through. Another really important thing is to keep in mind that you want to tell your team when you're using this. So if you're going to use it and then you don't say anything and your team just all goes forward, you go in 1v6, now it's 5v6, you guys lose, then this isn't very useful. But it can be very strong when used correctly. It's also really good on defense. It can be good on defense. For example, if you die first and the rest of your team dies right behind you and you guys don't stagger too much, then you can pop your portal to get right back on top of a payload or whatever. And this can be really good, like whenever like there's no way you could get back other than with the portal, right on top of the payload to stall it right before they cap. And you can also do something like this, where you're like telling your team like, okay, I'm gonna TP on top of them to ult, and then you get through. You pop your ult, and then you know, your team's just right behind you in an ideal scenario, and then you just kill everyone. But that's quite a bit trickier to pull off. You can also do some cheese things with the portal. So I don't really do this, and it might be worth learning for like lower ranks, and it's good to do on defense whenever you're just already setting up and you literally have no use for your portal. But it can be good for whenever you see another Doctor Strange portaling like this, you can actually set up your portal like this right here, and to make the enemy team think that it's his portal, and you can throw them off the map. I'm sure you guys have seen something like this. Another thing you can do is on the maps where there are only 2 doors, this might be patched by the way, eventually, but on the, say these are only 2 spawn exits to the area, then we can set up something like this, where you have one portal here, where say we have one portal here to block the doorway, then we have another portal over here. Now, if you do this correctly, I mess this up, they're not actually going to be able to come out, and the only way that they can go is back into the spawn room, which is really broken. I actually don't know exactly how to do this, but I have seen it once in game, and it's really annoying, especially if the team's just going to cap, and there's just nothing they can do about it. So that's 2 ways you can cheese, but the main way to use it is just to get quick access to high ground areas and help your team get back quicker from the spawn.